Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the federal government recently introducing a Victims' Bill of Rights to seek to transform from the criminal justice system by creating a federal level, clear the rights of the victims of crime. This is a good news for the crime victim across the province, but there is a question as what Alberta is doing on this respect. My question to the Minister of Justice and Solicitor General, can you assure my constituents of Edmonton, Millwoods and all Albertans that this government will protect the victims of crime in Alberta?
Honourable Minister of Justice.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the member from Edmonton Millwoods for that question. I want to assure this member and all members of this House that Alberta Justice always has the goal of putting victims first, and I was very happy to see the federal government table this new Victims' Bill of Rights on April 3rd, 2014. The rights of victims are at the forefront whenever we want to be dealing with any matters to do with the criminal justice system. So to put it on the record, Alberta Justice supports the federal Victims' Bill of Rights, and I'm looking forward to working with the federal minister to implement this and seeing how we can improve the rights of victims.
Good. For supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the same minister again, can the minister stand in the House and assure my constituents that steps were taken to assure the victims of crime in Alberta were represented while the federal government was drafting this legislation?
Honourable Minister.
Well, thank you again, Mr. Speaker. There was quite a bit of consultation, particularly at our federal, provincial and territorial justice ministers' meetings on this particular topic. But we have written the federal government many times dealing with the rights of victims. But the most important one that we've talked about is reducing the need for preliminary inquiries. This can get very technical, Mr. Speaker, but in layperson's terms, this would limit the amount of times that a victim has to face the accused and testify, something I think that is very important, and would also help resolve cases more quickly. And so we will continue advancing this as part of our common sense conservative approach to justice.
Final supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the same minister again, how this government is moving to assure that as many burdens as possible are removed from the victims of crime?
Good. Honourable Minister.
Thank you again, Mr. Speaker. This government introduced a Victims of Crime Fund where money is put into the fund to victims of crime from surcharges on fines. And this year, the Premier and I had just announced $9.1 million worth of new funding for 41 community police-based programs. What does this mean, Mr. Speaker? This helps Albertans affected by criminal acts, including domestic violence, elder abuse, assault, and sexual exploitation. Some have even called it the gold standard.